Hello, 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 everybody. Hello, hello. It's JJ Conway. I'm so excited to be here with you today. It is day 3 of our Women Building Wealth Together Summit, our Women's Wealth Summit, where you can still get your complimentary tickets at womenswealthsummit.com. All right. So if you haven't been with us the last 2 days, let me get you caught up with where we're at. So we started off the first day mostly talking about mindset and making sure that we can overcome a lot of the historical, cultural forces that kind of convince women that they're either not supposed to know about money or that make it harder for women to start dumping debt and build wealth. And again, you can still get your complimentary ticket at womenswealthsummit.com. You'll be able to get your workbook and kind of work through what speakers we had yesterday. And then, first day. And then yesterday we talked about getting equipped. So we had a lot of focus on the nitty gritty, like no kidding, the skills that you can implement right now that can make a difference in your life, in your ability to be wealthy and prosper. And so the before I bring up our first speaker today, which is a very interesting day, I want to remind you that this isn't just a one-time conference. This is a journey. And it's really easy to come to a conference and then get inspired and like, oh, yeah, this, and yeah, that, and I'm so excited, I'm so inspired, I'm so inspired. I'm putting away all those evil thoughts, I'm putting away all the negative thoughts. I'm gonna do this thing. This person is amazing, and then it's really easy to go into the weekend, and Mother's Day is gonna happen, and maybe some of you aren't gonna receive what you want for Mother's Day, or your family's gonna go out and they're gonna give you everything that you thought that you should have for Mother's Day, but it's still going to feel empty. And in just that instant, you're going to have a choice to make whether or not you're going to continue to hold fast to these principles, or if you're going to let the reality of the present life keep you from moving forward. See, there's a very, 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 um, sorry, I got distracted by the cat who somehow got into the studio, and I don't have the time to get her out right now because we have a power-packed morning. Oh, but I'm sorry. You know the devil is a liar. Let me start that thought again. Okay, so in the moment where we've left the inspiring conference and we've left all of the high energy and we've left all the rah rah, you can do it. When you get back to your home, and this weekend is Mother's Day weekend, so it's even more poignant for many of us who are mothers, that there's the expectations or disappointments, or maybe you're mourning a child that get down. She's gonna mess up my setup. Get down. I tell you what, the devil doesn't want me to get this point out to you today. You know what? If the light falls, I'm gonna keep talking because I'm not gonna let him interrupt me a third time. All right. I tell you what, I love the kitty. She made a huge difference with my little one. But sometimes when you introduce new things in your life, it's new pathways for the enemy to come in and mess with you. All right. So let me say this again, and I don't care what happens, we're gonna get this point out. It's very easy to come to a conference like this, get all inspired, get all excited, and then you go back and the realities of life knock you down. Your feelings get hurt. Or even if everything is what you hoped it would be, sometimes you feel empty. And you realize that your joy and your peace and your happiness weren't in all the things. Wasn't in all the kids coming home for Mother's Day, although that's nice. It wasn't in all the gifts and the accolades, although that's nice. It wasn't in the going out to a fancy restaurant with your spouse, although that's nice. All those things are nice. But at the end of the day, what gives us value is us. And the fact of knowing who we are and whose we are. And that's a choice. My faith is a choice. My self-worth is a choice. And I may not feel what I want to feel today, but I can take steps today to get myself to where I need to be tomorrow. And so can you. And so what I'm asking you to do is, when that moment comes that the discouragement and the disappointment and the reality of life wants to come in and steal your dream, I want you to hold fast to these principles. Okay, I can't remember if it was Wallace Wattles or it was Napoleon Hill, but one of them said that successful people make their decisions based on their purpose. Whereas unsuccessful people make their decisions on their present circumstances and conditions. And too many of us, especially women, trying to juggle this, trying to juggle that. You're trying to get your kids through school, trying to get your kids through school without going to jail, without getting somebody pregnant or getting high or getting somebody high, right? Like we're trying to do all these things. And then we're also dealing with parents and we're trying to take care of them, get them take the care that they need, all of that, right? So we have a lot that we're juggling as women, whether you have a family you're in or whether you don't have a family that you're in right now. You have hurts and you have disappointments and you have things and you have all these things that really combine. And at the end of the day, if we're not intentional about our future, if we're not intentional about what it is we want out of life, if we're not intentional about I am going to create a life I love, then the disappointments of life will siphon away everything that we've done for the last 3 days. And I don't want that to happen to you. I want all of you to be inspired and to continue to walk in the path that has been set before you. Anybody can win with money. It doesn't matter your background. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. It doesn't matter what happened to you. It doesn't matter what somebody did to you. It doesn't matter if somebody did something, it was your fault. If somebody did something, it wasn't your fault. You know, a lot of times things happen to us. We internalize them as our fault, but they're not really our fault. And then sometimes things happen to us and we're the ones that opened up the door for the enemy. Whatever it is, none of that controls your future. It may inform your future. It may dictate a different path for your future, but it doesn't control your future. You do. And with that said, I'm going to go ahead and bring up our first talk for today. Some of you may have heard her if you were in the rooms for our broadcast session in the afternoon yesterday, but everybody's going to hear her this morning. Her name is Sabrina Lowry, and I tell you what, she calls herself the tech evangelist, but I almost think she needs to call herself the wealth evangelist, because technology, real estate, entrepreneurship, anything that you need to know how to do or be able to do, she has either done it or she knows somebody and can connect you with the person who can help you do it. And so I'm very, very excited to bring to you this talk by Sabrina Lowry, the tech evangelist. And today she's going to be talking to us about how to build your business like a B.O.S.S with multiple streams of income.
Hello, everyone, everywhere you are. My name is Sabrina Lowry, and my clients call me the tech evangelist. I am the Chief Technology Officer of Sabrina Lowry Enterprises and the qualifying broker and owner of Legacy Realty and Management, LLC, headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia. For the past 19 years, I have been helping and saving families in real estate by helping them buy, sell, and invest, both residentially and commercially. Now, when I started Sabrina Lowry Enterprises in 2018, that came from a need of technical support from business owners that look like me, that wanted to do better in their businesses, but also did not have that tech savviness that they needed in order to level up the success of their businesses. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I come from New Jersey. Yes, I'm a Jersey girl. Shout out to all my Jersey folks. I moved to the South and lived in Miami with my mother, a single mother. And I learned the difference between being a renter and a homeowner during that phase of my life. I came from a family of homeowners. Yes, women homeowners, generation after generation in my family. my great-grandmother, my grandmother, and my mother, all homeowners. But there's another segment of our family, let's call them renters. And they've got that forever renter mentality, which means they didn't catch the home ownership bug like I did. Well, it's neither good or bad if you consider the lifestyle that I wanted and maybe the lifestyle they chose. See, I'm a very intentional individual who uses SMART goals to focus on my dreams and aspirations. I'm an overachiever and I'm proud of it. And I'm going to share a few tools, tips, tricks, strategies, nuggets, whatever you want to call them, with you here today with our time together. So I want to share with you a story about one of my clients. His name is Milton, one of the smartest men that I know. And because he is a co-founder of a holding company and has been in the financial industry for well over 30 years and worked for one of the top financial institutions in the world that most of us know. Now, he had a technical issue where he lost the contacts and text messages on an old phone and needed to recover some of that data and ensure that would never, ever happen again. Now, you may be thinking, well, surely he could have just gone back to the mobile carrier and gotten those things taken care of, but who's got time for that? And so I was able, in a working session, one-on-one, in person, have him bring all of his devices, the cell phone, the tablet, and the desktop computer at the office, so that he would have a centralized way of having all of his contacts and backup of his cell phone data. So we worked together. I gave him the tools he needed, got his information in the cloud, backed up securely. Everything was great. And he was a happy camper. You see, technology does not discriminate on your age. It doesn't matter if you're new to it, if you're a millennial and grew up with it. Some of us still need a little help from time to time. And that is just one of the services that I provide for my clients. It was awesome watching Milton go from what happened here to thank you very much. It was awesome. So let's talk about my lifestyle, my background, what led me to Atlanta. I moved to Atlanta in '96 after completing my computers and information systems degree at the University of Florida. And in '96, the Atlanta market for IT professionals was hot, hot, hot. Let's just say the tech hub of the South. And I had a choice, Atlanta or North Carolina, or stay in Miami, Florida. Miami, Florida was not paying women that looked like me with the same education as me the equal pay that they would a man who was probably bilingual and definitely did not look like me. So I had to think quick and fast about how was I going to create wealth for myself and my two baby boys at the time. I got my computer science degree, moved to Atlanta, started my corporate career, It was phenomenal. I've served in the capacity as a computer programmer and analyst, help desk support, technical writer, and trainer. And those skills over the years were absolutely some skills I could monetize along the way. And I've done that very successfully, by the way. And that leads me to talking with you about SMART goals. Because I'm a smart girl, I've got a different definition of SMART for you today. And I want all my smart men and women in the chat to drop SMART for me, because I'm going to give you a whole new meaning of what SMART means to me. So let's start with the S in SMART, specific. Now, I know a lady, a dear friend of mine, who owns a boutique video production company. And she uses multiple software video editing tools and has tons of data and videos that she needs to store, both on the computer and in the cloud. Well, for some of us, we've got multiple cloud accounts, such as your Dropbox and your Google Drive of the world and iCloud. Well, you see, this smart young lady is very specific about her needs and knows what technology she doesn't need, especially when you are duplicating the efforts and those expenses. So she eliminated OneDrive from her computer altogether, deleted it. I don't need it. I don't want it. I'm going to buy in over here, and I'm going to stick with that. A cloud online storage solution that is affordable. You see, now that's being specific. That's a lady who knows what she wants, knows what she needs, and applies it immediately. And that's how you can be specific along your journey and be smart about it. Let's move on to the M in SMART, and that is measurable. Now, when you think about measurable, I want you to think about, what am I measuring? Am I measuring time? Am I measuring my money? Because I like my money to rain, honey. You know the saying, make it rain. Well, when you're building wealth, there's a certain measure of time in order to measure the amount of money that you have, especially when it comes to investing. See, most of us understand that a real estate investment is considered a long-term investment. Well, so is insurance. But that doesn't mean everybody buys into those strategies. Well, they happen to be part of my measurable SMART goal for achieving wealth for myself and my family. I am able to state my date of retirement. It is on the calendar. 2032 is all you're going to get out of me. And when 2032 comes, I would have had X number of years worth of investing that I can retire comfortably and live a lifestyle that I have dreamed of. And you can do it too. So when you're thinking about measurable in your goals and being smart, you better factor the time and the money, because there's a good return on your money if you give it some more time. Time is always of the essence, but timing is also everything when it comes to real estate investing. Now let's segue into the A. The A, in my definition of SMART, is for achievements. Yes, I know. You all are used to the traditional acronym where the A is attainable goals. Sabrina, it has to be attainable. Well, scratch that today. We're going to talk about achievements and how you've got to put yourself in the position of getting what you need and celebrating those small wins along the way. So I am one of the 2021 top 100 Black women of influence by the Atlanta Business League, formerly in 2015 recognized as the outstanding woman in business by the Atlanta Business League, and a number of other very well-earned recognitions along the way, including a who's who in information technology back in 1999. Y'all, that's a long time since that achievement, but I still celebrate that recognition along the way. Why? Because you've got to celebrate yourself. And if that means you got to treat yourself to a spa day or pop a bottle of whatever your favorite bubbly is, then do that. If you're gonna throw a celebration, do it big, honey, do it big and celebrate your achievements. But never think that by speaking about the recognition and the titles you've earned and been recognized for your accomplishments doesn't need to be recognized or spoken of. You know, the saying that I've heard over the years, let your haters be your motivators, absolutely applies here. Your haters can't wait for you to fail. You know, there's also some of your family members that might be haters, but we're here to speak life over those people and let them know I am a winner. I declare victory over my life and I will create a living legacy for my family. Woo, that just gives me chills, don't you? So let's move on. The R in SMART. All right, smart people. That is relevant. You got to stay relevant. If people don't know who you are and what you do and who you do it for and why you do it, how can they support you? You all have heard the saying, a closed mouth doesn't get fed. Just imagine the closed mouth trying to get fed. It'll look a little something like this. Okay, so you gotta open your mouth and ask for what you want. Go after what you need in order to build wealth for your family, in order to create a lasting living legacy. So I want to encourage you today to absolutely stay relevant, be relevant, do relevant things, surround yourself with relevant people. The crabs in the barrel syndrome, there's no time for that here. We are here to surround ourselves with like-minded, powerful individuals, just like these two right here, Dr. George Fraser and the Dr. J.J. Conway, so that we all can grow our legacies and build wealth together. That's what this summit is about. Talk about relevant. Go, JJ. Last is the T in SMART goals. And the T typically stands for time bound. Time is of the essence. Well, y'all know I have to put my little twist on it, and the T is not for time bound today. The T is for technology. And the T has to be for technology because technology will save your life and change your life. See, over the years, I've written articles for magazines and been publicized in the news and written books. And listen, it is absolutely a necessity to use technology and to invest in it. If you think about technicians and technologists and why they make more money on the average salary than any other career pathway, you have to recognize that technology isn't going anywhere. It is forever thriving, evolving, and changing. That's what innovation is. That is, by definition, why we continue to see our lives change because of technology. Good, bad, or indifferent, technology is here to stay. And some of us more mature gals recognize that, we thought things would always be the same. You remember the VHS and a DVD? How about that USB drive? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, technology is ever changing. Who even has a DVD player anymore? Who wants to carry a jump drive around when there's cloud storage? So I want all of my millennial and older. If you grew up with it, of course, it's no problem for you. It's like second nature. My 11-year-old is learning tech very, very swiftly. And he will also be a geek baby. I'm not mad about that. But technology is going to help you make smart decisions. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I present my SMART goal pathway for you. You got to try it. Think about what you need to build wealth for yourself and your family and create a living legacy. My name is Sabrina Lowry. You can call me the Tech Evangelist. I invite you to go to sabrinalowry.com/shop and download your free legacy toolkit today. Thank you so much for having me and have a blessed day.
And I'm muted. Thank you so much, Sabrina, for that wonderful talk. And those of you who don't know her personally, she has been in and out of the comments the entire 3 days. So you definitely want to connect with her. And I'm going to do just a quick summary. I hope that I can do this here. I just want to do a quick summary of the goals. I love how Miss Jackie is summarizing the SMART system, her updated and more relevant version of the SMART goals, right? Let me go ahead and get through them here. Oh, S here, making sure that you know exactly what you want, being specific. M, where did my A go? You know what? I was trying to do something cool and it's not coming out cool because I'm having trouble getting them all up, but that's okay. This was really, really fun and I'm really excited. And so let me just stop trying to do something that I hadn't planned for. Some speakers, they love being off script and they love just being able to flow in the moments, and you got to know your strengths and stuff. And I guess mine is not trying to do something cool on the fly. I'm really much better when I plan for what it is I'm gonna say. Okay, so speaking of planning for what we say, I did want to address before I bring up my next two guests, and they are going to be live, so they're going to have prepared talks or interview style. The next three guests that we have, one of the things I wanted to talk about with the next two guests is I mentioned on day one that I invited specific men to be a part of our women's conference, and the reason I did that is because these men offer perspective that we don't necessarily see as women, that I thought could help us, or they've also helped other women succeed in their corporate environments. Okay, so that's a reason. That's another reason why I brought some men in. And then also sometimes you just have to learn how to get and I hate the word just. And then now my son says I can't say the word hate because that's the H word for him, right? So I've got to learn how to update my vocabulary. But I greatly dislike the word just, like, oh, just do this, just do that, right? Um, it really downplays how much effort it takes for some of us to learn how to do things that we're unfamiliar with. So let me say it this way. Sometimes being a woman who wants to succeed, if you're not surrounded by women who have been successful in those areas, sometimes it helps to go out and get a mentor that may not be your gender. And that's a principle that extends throughout gender, ethnicity, race, religion, all those things. Sometimes we need to let somebody else pour into us. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to bring back Kevin Williams. He is backstage waiting patiently for me to bring him up. I'm going to bring him back, and he talked to us before about diamonds and gold. How we need to understand that, how we need to understand the impact of our relationships and what we want on our ability to build wealth. And today he's going to talk to us about the wealth of relationships. And so I really enjoy bringing that male perspective in. Kevin Williams, I just closed his bio. For those of you who don't remember him, I've started calling him our resident fatherhood expert because he speaks specifically to fathers about fatherhood, right? And so he's also, like me, he's also a John Maxwell team member, which has been recently rebranded as Maxwell Leadership. Something else that from his bio, he has been married for 22 years. He's a dad to 4 young kids, and he really does focus on helping dads be the best they can be for their family. And so, like I was starting to say, the reason I brought him in is because with helping dads be the best they can be there for their family, sometimes we as women, maybe we didn't grow up with dads that are really good role models, that aren't present, that maybe didn't necessarily show us how to allow dads to be dads to our children, or how to allow male figures to be a male influence for our children, for those of us that don't have male partners, right? And so I thought that, especially since Kevin believes that everything rises and falls on leadership, and that it all starts on the inside, and since Kevin has a passion for working with dads, I knew that he was somebody that I wanted to come talk to us today. Okay, so let me finish reading his bio here. There's something here that I really loved, and it says here: behind this passion for working with dads is a heart that cries for the children and wives who are missing out, struggling, or worse, because the men in their lives are not sure that they have what it takes. He knows from hard-won experience that all dads have what it takes to provide fully and deeply what their family needs from them. When things are looking rough, we have to hold on to the truth that all of us are capable of far more than we realize. We see this truth when we stand firm and don't let the storms of life chase us away from those who are counting on us. And I think that that is so beautiful. I guess I shouldn't say beautiful when talking about a guy's bio, but to me, it really speaks to my heart, because not only are there so many dads out there that don't know that they're enough, but there are a lot of moms that don't know that they're enough, and there's a lot of moms that don't know that the men in their lives are enough for their children. And so I want to share, there are people who remember your diamonds and gold talk and how powerful it was. Kevin,
Good.
I want to welcome you back to Building Wealth Together. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm so excited. I can hardly hold it in. I've got notes today because I know there's so much that I want to share, and I do like talking off the cuff, as it were, but then I'll just go off on who knows how many tangents. So I got notes. I'm going to reference them because I want to make sure I share what what I had planned to share. So,
Well, I tell you, I remember when Roddy Galbraith taught both of us about how being a speaker, one of the best things you can do is practice, practice, practice. And I kind of poo-pooed that earlier in my speaking career. I was like, I've got it in me. It'll come out. And one of the things I saw, and some of y'all who were on a few minutes ago, you saw it. Sometimes it can be in there all right, but in the heat of the moment, can you get it out? And can you get it out professionally? And can you get it out eloquently? And so I'm very glad that you're here today. I'm going to go ahead and turn the floor over to you, but thank you again for being here. And before I do that, I just want to make sure your offers are the same as Monday. As Wednesday. Yeah. So I'll make sure I have them cacked up for when we get to the end. All right, everybody, this is Kevin Williams. The floor is yours.
Super. Thank you for that great introduction. And it is nice to know that you think the things I'm expressing are beautiful. That's fine. Don't worry about your words. I'm a man, so I'm tough. I can take it if you call me beautiful. I'll handle it. So we're talking today, our overarching, I'm going to jump right in, guys, because I said I have a lot to share. And even when I practice and rehearse, I just have a tendency to really want to dive into things. And I'm so full of energy and emotion today that I could very easily just go off on an hour-long tangent, which I don't think you want to listen to today. So our overarching focus today is on networks, in focus on building wealth. And, I'm not at all shy to say part of that wealth building has to be in the wealth of relationships. And again, experience has taught me many things about it. And so I'm going to start with this. The idea that if we're going to put together a network, one of the things that we need to know is what are the roles that different people play? And do we understand those roles? So, for example, being a husband and father, I have learned so much more through this life as a husband and father than any other part of life, any other way of being. There's so many opportunities to learn and grow. Let's put it that way. that is just naturally the basis of where I learn and the best examples that I have. But I'm going to talk about some other things as well today. So, when my wife and I got married, it was simple. I knew my role, I knew her role, and she knew her role, and she knew my role, and so we're good, right? There's no problem there. So, we launch in and expect to have a great relationship. And what I knew, for example, that my first and primary role as a man, I learned this over the years. I've watched the movies, I've seen the TV shows. My primary role as a man is to make my wife happy. Now that does include, providing money. Yes, I see the laughs, JJ. I'm glad you're not taking me too seriously. My primary, it includes providing finances. And it also, above that, for a man, now you got to hear me here, especially ladies, you got to understand, it's understood that as a man, my primary role in making my wife happy is to satisfy my wife in bed or wherever we happen to be. Now, I know JJ's got to talk where she's talking about sex later on, so I'm okay to go down this road a little bit here. Here's the thing. I learned this. I knew it. It's just something all guys know. You got to please your woman, and we know what that means. We got to make her happy in bed, and okay, that's great. You see it on the TV and the shows, and you hear people talking about it, and it seems like a guy can just go from one woman to another, and he makes them all happy. It's no problem. It's easy. It must just come naturally because nobody taught us how or what to do about it. It must be just something we know, and so we go into the relationship and we say, well, I guess I just do what comes naturally and she'll be happy and this is all good. So, because I'm a man and I must know, I know how the parts fit together. Like, come on, how hard can it be? So we do that. And the problem is we recognize that there's a couple of things. If I can't, as a man, satisfy my woman, there's two problems. One is we've learned that is her ticket to leave. Now, that might surprise you. I don't know, some of you may have thought that as well, but that's her ticket to leave. If you can't make her happy in bed, well, of course she left you. You probably suck at that. Like, why would she stay if you can't handle that? That's one problem. The other problem is, if you can't handle that, you're not even a man. Like, you're less than a worm. You might as well just walk off the edge of the planet now, because there's no point, dude. Seriously, if you can't keep your woman happy that way, then there's really no point. Like, give it up. And this is serious. I mean, it's way wrong in so many ways, but it's serious. Now, my wife and I have a relationship where we've talked about a lot of stuff. We always have been fairly open and talked about a lot of things. We keep finding things that we haven't talked about yet. They come up even this week. So there's things that we keep learning and discovering we need to talk about. But even though we were okay to talk about things, I still struggled with this, because this was the input that was driven into me my whole life, from day one, before I even really understood what sex was. It was just understood, and it was pounded into me over and over again, repeatedly, that this is a major thing. And so, as I say, even though we had the ability to communicate as a couple, there was still shame and fear in me about this, and about bringing it up and exposing the fact that there were things I didn't know, coming to the place of admitting and recognizing that I don't really understand my role here. Every woman is different, right? Contrary to what we see in the movies, you and I know every woman is different, just like every man is a bit different in what we need, what we want, and what makes us happy. Now, okay, that's probably enough about sex for now. We're talking about networks, and yes, our spousal relationship is absolutely one of the most important relationships in building any network, any venture that we want to build. Building wealth, building a business, investing in real estate, whatever it is that you're looking at. As I talked about a bit on Wednesday, that's going to be a foundational relationship and where that works. So that's kind of why I'm bringing that in here, looking at that communication. But moving on a bit from that area, still talking about some of the things that happened in our family. But as I mentioned on Wednesday, for those who didn't hear it, I mentioned briefly that my wife and my 4 kids and I were all in my truck when we were hit head-on by an impaired driver a few years ago. An awful thing, and we are still dealing with some of the outcome of that. Some of it goes on for many years, and we all survived, and we're doing well. There's just some hang-on issues that we need to deal with. So, but I just wanted to bring that up because, again, when we're talking about building a network, we learned so many things through this process. And so I want to share that with you guys. And this is just from the heart and true experience, and recognizing how these impact whatever it is that we're trying to do. So from this collision, we all had various injuries. Some of us had no physical injuries. Some of it, like my whole left side from my eye down to my foot was broken in one way or another, almost all the bones. And so that I had major physical issues, and some others only had brain injury, and I say only, some had brain injury, and to different degrees. It was all varied. Let's just kind of go with that for now. But the point was that from that, we needed to find the right specialist for each person. What does each of us need right now? And sometimes that changed over time. So, for example, the first thing that came to us, you know what? Let me pause for a minute. On Wednesday, I was talking about the gold in us and the diamonds that come out of the rough times and tough times in our relationship. This time of the collision was a time where the gold in my wife was just oozing out, pouring out, and shining like nothing else. I mean, the things that she did for us and getting us on the scene of the collision, in the hospital, just dealing with so much stuff, calling families and insurance and dealing with the hospital staff. And one of the first things that they said was that we needed a lawyer. In fact, if I recall correctly, they told her that we had to have a lawyer in order to get discharged, which I don't think is true. But the point is they pushed that. And so she's trying to find lawyers, calling around friends, family, like, we've never had personal injury before. How do you find a good lawyer, and who do you know? So we had a few recommendations, and some wouldn't even come to the hospital to talk to us. A couple of them did. And I think it was the first guy that we spoke to. I'm going to call him Randy. I don't know what his name was, but he called himself Randy. He waltzes in there and says, yeah, I'm this guy and I'm great. And I've had so many successes and I've done all this stuff. And he said, you know, when I'm on the case, there's this thing called the Randy effect. And when the insurance companies hear that I'm on the case, man, they just automatically add on 10% or something because that's the Randy effect. They know that I'm going to make them pay it anyway. So that's the Randy effect. And, you know, I'll get everything you need and more and so on and so forth. And we're done that interview. And it's like, okay, well, it sounds like he's good, but he didn't ask anything about us and who we are and what do we need and what's going on and how many are in our family or anything. It's like, okay, maybe this is what we deal with. This guy was like lawyer. This is like TV lawyer. And I say that because the next guy that came in with his assistant, it's like, I don't remember what we said. I don't remember the conversation at all. I really don't. But I do remember, I felt like, hey, this guy just doesn't seem like a lawyer. He just seems like a nice guy who wants to help us. And I remember feeling he cared about us. He was interested in who we are and very thoughtful and considerate, and I just felt like, okay, he doesn't feel like a lawyer. Like, we watched the lawyer TV shows and this guy is just not like that at all. He's just a regular guy who's trying to help us. And it's like, okay, well, he really doesn't feel like a lawyer, but I kind of feel like he'll look after us. Well, we did go with that guy, and I wish I could recommend him to you all. He's a Canadian lawyer, so I know most of you are in the States, so it's probably not going to help you, but amazing. And we recommend him to all the people we know around here who are needing that. That choice was so important, and we didn't even know how important that decision was. But what he and his team have done for us has just been amazing. But the first thing that he did, and this is part of finding the right specialist, the first thing that he did was recommend the person that we need actually to take over from him at the beginning. And that was the occupational therapist. We don't know this, but he knew that. So he had good recommendation. And the women that we worked with in the beginning, she was amazing, really did a great job for us. And she starts to coordinate everything. Who do you need for this? And who do you need for that? And where do you find them? And how do you get them on? We'll bring them on board and bring them in, and we'll get all the right. My body being so damaged, I needed physiotherapy and I needed a kinesiologist to work with me. I needed PSWs, personal support workers who were, because I couldn't move, couldn't barely get from my bed to a wheelchair. I couldn't take care of myself, everything from brushing my teeth to using the toilet. So we needed people to do that. Now, this is where choices get interesting. Excuse me. This is where choices get interesting. We had a number of PSWs and support workers come in, and most of them, I think almost all of them, knew what to do and how to do it, basically. And mostly we were very happy. But this one woman came in who was just so energized and so efficient and so determined to get things done. She just would plow through our house, get things done, do it all. And she's high energy and talking and just making things happen. And we're like, geez, woman, slow, like, this is my house. This is my life. Slow down. Like, actually, don't just get out. Get out. Oh my goodness. It was like, she was creating stress for us. And so we just called the agency and said, no, bring her back. We can't handle that. This is not a good fit. Yes, she knows she can get stuff done, and that's great. But man, wow. So this was part of the process. Just as we interviewed lawyers, we kind of interviewed other people too, finding the right fit, because this is critical. Okay, in our situation, we're in the home, it's in our life, it's very personal. It can seem obvious why that is necessary to have the right personal fit. I think it's the same if you're trying to build a legacy for your family and you want generational wealth, even enough for your own kids. You're going to need the right people, and it has to be a good fit, because they're going to be impacting your life in very significant ways. One of the other things that we learned, again, because some of our situations were a little more complicated, we didn't always know who we needed. But we talked to all the people that we did have connection with and searched, and we actually found somebody. One of the people who helped my wife was a doctor of audiology. Now, in Canada, that's actually not a recognized thing. I don't know why, but she got her degree in the States and is working in Canada, and she's not allowed to call herself a doctor of audiology, but she has all the knowledge and expertise. So she did some things with hearing aids that really were surprising how that impacted my wife with her balance issues. But the other thing, and what I really wanted to draw out of that, was she was part of a network of specialists. And I believe there were 5 of them, and we connected with 3 of those. And it was her and a physiotherapist who had a unique way of doing things that nobody I know had ever heard of. None of our specialists had heard of. And a dentist who was a retired dentist who had gone back and studied physiology and learned how all of this ties together and helped find answers to the pains that was going on in my wife's head. People we'd never heard of and didn't even know those specialties existed. But the other side of it was that these people worked together. They understood each other's specialties, and where they didn't, they would talk about it, and they would meet and discuss with a certain degree of confidentiality, but they would discuss the clients that they had in common and try to work together to find solutions. So, when I was looking recently at investing in business, and I needed to talk to some lawyers, and there's accountants that need to be involved. When I was interviewing lawyers, I also talked to them about accounting and who do they know, who do they work? Are they used to working with accountants? Do they work together? Are they good at that? Are they familiar with the processes? And the same thing when I talk to the accountants and so on. So that teamwork thing is a component that we might overlook. And it depends a little bit on you and how seriously you're looking at where you're going with things and what your plans are. The way that your team works together can be crucial. There's so many different aspects to that. And I mean, we've worked with a couple of different financial planners, and some of them, we didn't really click with them. And others, yeah, I like you, but I don't like your advice. So there's different things to think about. And there's so much to all of this process. And so one of the things I'm going to do is just wet my whistle here. My mouth is getting dry. I'm so excited. One of the things you'll learn about me is I like to keep it casual. I'm not trying to be polished and all professional, but I'm speaking from the heart and soul. And I'm telling you what I know. What I know is real because I've been there and I've done that. I'm just going to share with anybody what I know. I don't talk about things I don't know. I don't have like PowerPoints and all that stuff in most cases when I'm doing things. I'm just telling you what I know, what I've experienced, and what I've learned from other people and from my own experience. Building your network is going to be crucial. And I talked a lot about it on Wednesday, and I'm talking a bit about it today, how your marriage relationship is going to be, if you're married, that's going to be an important cornerstone of everything you do. And you need to work on that. Now, the only one above that for me is my relationship with God. And honestly, I wouldn't be where I am now without that one. Everything that I do is impacted by that for sure, in very real and practical ways. I want to move on to something a little different here now. A couple of things on how to move ahead. This needs to be practical. And I hope you understood from what I was saying about sex and so on that communication is key. We need to be willing to talk to people. So my wife and I keep talking. There are times where I resist talking. I don't want to talk about it, and I'll put it off, and I'll find all kinds of ways to not talk about it because I don't want to admit that I don't know or that I'm wrong, or maybe I just don't want to deal with the process of walking through this together because it's a together thing, and we've got different ideas. How are we going to bring those ideas together? That's not always easy. but it never works. Avoiding the conversation never works. So I'm learning to speak sooner and be more open about all the little things and big things that come up that we need to talk about. But in all of this that I'm saying, one of the keys is coaching. And yes, I'm a coach, and so there's a bias there, but actually I'm a coach because I recognize the value of this process. A coach is going to walk you through every step of any process. A good coach can help you get clear on things, clear on who you are and what kind of investment or business is best for you. They're not going to tell you that. They're going to help you discover that. My job is not to tell anybody anything, which is another reason why I like coaching. I'm not the one who's supposed to know everything and get your life straight and you can blame me when it goes wrong. No. But I do know how to ask the right questions. Knowing who you are and what kind of business or investments are going to be right for you is something that you want to be clear on so you don't waste time. I mean, think about all the kids who end up going to university and they jump in thinking, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then they get to university and they find themselves and realize, oh, I don't want to do that. That wasting thousands of dollars, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars on something that wasn't right because they didn't take the time to get to know themselves first. You don't want to do that. Coaching can help you know what it is that you need from your team members. Okay, now this is important because again, remember I was talking about the roles that we play. Knowing what you need from your financial planner or from your lawyer or your accountant or anyone else that you're working with, from your coach, from your whoever you're working with, knowing what you need from them. It's great to know what their role is, what their specialties are. That's important. But what is it that you need? And can they give that to you? And do you know how to ask for it? One of the great benefits of working with a coach. Finding the right questions to ask your prospective teammates. What are you supposed to ask them? I mean, when we were going through our recovery process, we didn't even know the specialists we were looking for. Sometimes we didn't know who they were, but even when we did, it was like, well, what do we need to tell them? And what do we ask them to find out if they're the right person or not? And so we learned a lot of that through working with some of the people we already trusted and just trial and error as well, finding the right questions, looking at business investments. When you are in investments and they're starting to go down or something, or you're doing real estate and things are fluctuating, or you're building a business and it's not going the way you planned, that can get scary. Okay. You need someone who's going to walk with you through that and kind of talk you back down off the edge and go, whoa, okay, let's stay with reality here, recognize what's really happening, and get back to a place of centered and calm. That's going to be an essential part of your relationship. And now listen, that could be any number of people. It can be, to a large extent, it can be your spouse or any other person you know who is really close to you that you trust and who will be honest with you. It doesn't have to be a spouse. If you're single, that's great. You've got other people that you can turn to, and you need to find some people who can work with you on that. One of my coaches is actually my dad. He doesn't know that. I've never told him that he's a coach, but he is. For as long as I remember, he's been the guy who asks me the right questions. And he's guided me so many times in better directions, and he's saved me from so many pits of misery, helped pull me out of depressions and down states that I couldn't count. No, he's not trained in coaching, but man, he does it well. So it doesn't have to be a professional, and it doesn't have to be family. It can be anybody, but you need somebody there. You are going to, if you're going to do anything of significance, I know I've said this many times and you may have heard it before, but if you want to go somewhere fast, you go alone. But if you want to do something of significance and something that's going to last, do it together with other people. That's the only way to build something that lasts. And it's so much more fun that way. When you've got people to celebrate with and work through the challenges with, it's so much more fun than doing it alone. So why not? But finding the right people. So, and I also want to share this other bonus with you. When I was still in the hospital and they had to do a surgery on my foot, and they actually delayed my release so that the best foot surgeon in the area, I think in our province, could work on it, which is unusual. Hospitals are usually like trying to get you out, but they said, no, we're going to wait. It's a long weekend. He's not available. We'll wait till Tuesday. This guy was good. He and I mean, I don't have any basis of comparison. I haven't broken the other foot to see if someone can do it better, but he seems to have done a good job. But in the process of follow up and following up with me and working on the healing process, he really had a bad bedside manner. Man, this guy, he was very transactional. It was like, just got to do this. You just got to do it. There's the word just. JJ doesn't like. I don't like it either. Well, just do this. Just do that. Get on with it. And by the way, you'll never walk properly again. And it's like, dude, really? You didn't need to say that. How do you know that? Interesting thing happened. 3/4 of the way through the process with him, we didn't get to see him for a little while because he was off work because he needed to have his surgery done on his knee. Apparently, he'd never had surgery before. So I don't know, was it 6 or 8 weeks later? I can't remember. He's back on duty, and we're talking to him again. And like, where's the surgeon that we were talking to before? What did you do with him? This guy's attitude was so different. Now that he had had surgery done, now that he had been on the other side where the thousands of people that he had worked on before, now he knows what it's like for them. He's been there. Suddenly his attitude and behavior towards us changed, like noticeably, overnight it seemed. He could relate with us now. He could connect to what we were going through. And that's one of the reasons why I work with dads, because it's who I am. I mean, I was looking after before I was married, I was looking after other people's kids, trying to raise up a better generation as a youth pastor, Sunday school teacher, and just generally wanting to support young people in this crazy adolescent time of life. It's what I do. It's who I am. I'm a business owner, and I'm a dad and a husband, and I love to do these things. And so I have a heart for that and want to help people get through there and to learn the lessons that I've learned without going through the crap that I've just been through. You don't have to learn from your own mistakes. I tried to tell my daughter that. She said, Dad, I'm getting older now. I think it's time for you to let me learn from my own mistakes. I said, you're stupid. I don't think I said it quite that bluntly, but I did. I said, seriously? You could learn from me. You don't have to suffer. No, I want to learn from my own mistakes. Okay, I'll watch, and I'll try and make sure you don't go too far off the edge. But man, talking about learning from parenting, this is crazy life, man. I don't know. If you're not married, you haven't got kids yet, think carefully about it. Talk to some parents and see if you really want to get involved in that, because it doesn't end. My dad is still my dad. He still parents me. Okay. So everything we've been talking about, all of it really is founded on and supported by knowing yourself. I am absolutely 100% convinced about that. If you don't know who you are, you're going to, I mean, you can enjoy life and you can get things done, but I'm telling you, it won't be the best it can be. Understanding what's truly valuable about you, looking back on your life and saying, well, what is the gold that I see shining through my past experiences? What are the diamonds that have come out of those difficult times? What, when I look at my past, are those special things, those natural skills that I have that I could capitalize and build on in making a better future? Finding a way to go through and find all of that stuff. Because I said part of that is it helps you let go of the past. If you can find meaning and purpose in it, then you can let the crap stuff go, because at least you got something valuable out of it, right? I'm going to share with you a podcast I was listening to recently. If you're making notes, a lot of you might be interested in listening to this podcast. It's called Mums That Lead. Mums That Lead. And her name is Terry Schmidt. And I was listening to episode 74. I really like, you might want to go here. So I'm telling you. And episode 74, which is called How to Create Wealth by Starting on the Inside. And she had a guest speaker with her. 39 minutes into the conversation, her guest quotes a study showing that there was a 70% increase in savings amongst those who start on the inside. A 70% increase in savings for those who started on the inside. Look, coaching, I can tell you, is not just some latest trend and fashionable thing to do. Inner work, knowing yourself, healing yourself, is not just some mystical, spiritual, oh, it feels good experience. This is very real, practical, and I would say essential stuff. It's just necessary, and it doesn't need to feel weird, although I know a lot of us have a hard time thinking about needing help. I get that because I've been there and working through that. It's very, very important. And I can tell you from experience that we all have what it takes. And if you don't actually have exactly what it takes, you have what it takes to grow in yourself what you need or to find what it is that you need. I know I'm not the only one. I'm not that special. Yes, I'm different, here talking as a public speaker with long hair and long beard. That's unusual. Yeah, I'm a little different, but I'm not that different on the inside as a human. I know that if I have what it takes, then you do too. And I know that you have what it takes to create the finances that you want for your family, to create the life and to reach those dreams. You do. You really do. And you are capable of so much more than you realize. And I don't know if you've heard this before, but if you haven't, I want you to hear it from me. Don't give up. You are capable of so much more than you realize. Oh my goodness. There were days where in recent years where I went to bed and I just thought, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know. I'm done. Like I've got nothing left. I've given everything I've got. I'm exhausted. I'm out of ideas. I wake up in the morning, put my feet on the floor, and just take that next step. And just take another step. Well, okay, let's get dressed, everybody. Okay, well, I guess we should have breakfast. Let's have breakfast. Let's see if we can get kids to school, and just one step at a time, and just keep going. And at every moment, there were days, honestly, every moment, I just felt like, I don't know if I can do this next step. Get kids to school? Seriously? People do that? I used to do that. Now it's like, oh man. You may not be struggling with something as big and challenging as what we've been through, but you will reach your maximum at some point. If you are trying to do something of purpose, if you are trying to build something of value, at some point you will reach a limit where you go, I don't think I can do that. I don't think I have what it takes, or I'm tired, I'm frustrated. It's not worth. Don't quit. You are capable of more than you know, and you won't know how much you can do until you truly push yourself. And I would pray for you that you don't have to go through that struggle of needing to push yourself so hard. And maybe you won't. And if you have the right people in place, then hopefully we won't feel that kind of stress, because you'll have their energy and their encouragement and support and their guidance to help you move through. And you'll have people to do things with you so that you don't hold all the weight of it. You've got to build a network, more than just a network in terms of, networking events and people I know, but a real team, a family that is going to support you, that is going to build you up and is going to do things with you and for you, and that you can do with and for them, so that what you build is going to last and have huge significance and impact on your family or on the world. I don't know what your dreams are, But either way, do it with a team. Most people aren't going to work with me because I can't work with the whole world. People aren't all going to work with JJ. Maybe you don't like us. That's fine. But find somebody. You could even find from us, you might find other connections. Ask JJ. She'll help you. Ask me. I'll tell you what I know. I'll pass you. If I'm not the person to work with, then I'll try and help you find the person that is right for you, because that's what I want for you, really. So JJ did ask at the beginning about the course that I talked about on Wednesday. And I want to mention it again today in case some of you weren't there on Wednesday and didn't get to see it. But I really want you guys to have the opportunity to go through this process that I went through. It was so phenomenal for me. And I've asked a lot of the questions here today as I've been talking, but putting all those questions in an outline, and I'm going to put videos to go with it and so on. So you can do this on your own. You can walk through this process of asking yourself the right questions, looking at your life from different perspectives, and finding out, who am I really? Have you ever sat down and looked back over your life and really thought, well, who am I actually? Because if you look at the things that you've said and done over the years, it reveals a lot about who you actually are and how you behave. But you might also find that some of that is not really who you are. It's just what you were doing or how you were behaving at the time. So walking through that process will be invaluable. And so I want you guys to have this course. I've called it Know Yourself. And it's actually something that you can go through many times for different reasons. It doesn't have to be, you can put whatever subject you want on there. If it's not knowing yourself, if it's building a corporation or whatever, you can walk through a similar process that's going to help you get clarity on that. So that is available to everybody in this seminar summit at no cost. It's posted for $50. It's a self-study program you just go through in your own time, and you can take as long as you want. Although I recommend a week to 10 days, generally speaking, so you don't kind of forget what you were learning. And you can do that on your own. Now, I also recognize that a lot of us like to work with people, and a lot of us find it difficult to kind of go deep on these questions on our own. So I wanted to also encourage you guys to consider working with me and a small group of people together. We'll go through this process together, and we can ask each other questions. I can help guide through that and help with your specific situation and the specific questions you have, and to help gain clarity there. That's about a $200 course, but I want to give you guys that for half off, so that those who need or want the social and the connection through that you can have that, not just with me, but with a small group of other people. And depending how many people there are, I may do multiple groups, because I don't want it to be too big, because I really want to be able to work with you on your specific situation. And so I really encourage you to take advantage of that and try to get all you can out of life and knowing yourself. So JJ, I really can't say enough how much I appreciate being a part of your network and having you in my network. Even just the year that we've known each other has brought so much to me. I really honestly am grateful that you've taken the time and interest in supporting me. And I know you do this for so many people. And I've listened to your podcast, and I've seen things that you post on Facebook and so on, and so much great information, a wonderful attitude. And as I said, I know that JJ is the kind of person, if you don't feel comfortable working with her, which is fair, then she'll point you in other directions. I mean, she brings other financial planners onto these summits. So clearly she's just about trying to help you get what you need. It's not about building her own empire. So you are muted, and
I'm just agreeing with all the good stuff you're saying about me.
Good.
Oh,
you know what? Humility is actually being able to be honest about who you are and who you are not. That's what humility is. So being able to say, yes, I'm good at this, and no, I'm not good at that. That's true humility. So thank you again. I really appreciate it. Guys, I've really enjoyed. I'm so excited to be able to share things with you. And hope that we will meet again in the future. I can't wait till we can actually meet in person, JJ.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's going to be great.
So.
Well,
Awesome. Have a great day.
I've definitely got going back to Canada on my list of places to go. And of course, there's always John Maxwell. So I'm very excited about the opportunity now that everything's going not really all the way back to normal, but enough of back to normal where we can see each other in person. But before I let you go, I just want to say that you had me rolling earlier, and I made the comment about some of the puns because I was like, is he doing that on purpose, or are enough words different in can you know how it's English, but everybody has their own flavor of English. So you're gonna have to go back and look and it's just I was back here rolling. I was like, oh my goodness, he is just so sly with that. But I think it's important communication and even though I am in the ministry, that's one of my biggest things. Like there's things that you as a woman cannot really say over the pulpit. But boy, oh boy, what you said in the beginning, I think I'm just going to snip that and and send that to all of the guys that I'm going to put that in my new believers thing or something. I don't know yet, marriage series or something, because it's so important to communicate and to not assume that what we see on the movies is what works. One of the saddest things, it is now. I'm not going to give anybody a license to leave over unfulfillment in that area, but the Bible says you should render due benevolence. So if the Bible talks about it and says you need to give your spouse some, the wife needs to give their spouse some, and the husband needs, like, that's a scripture. The Bible says you need to render due benevolence to each other. Right. So poor Dr. Jonas is waiting in the wings like, what did I just walk into? I promise, Dr. Jonas, we are not going to carry this discussion into your thing, into your session. But reality is, I remember when I first became a pastor's wife. So my ex-husband was a pastor for a little while, and I started hanging out with more pastors' wives, and I went to different trainings for pastors' wives. And one of the things that I discovered was how many women were unfulfilled, but they wouldn't tell their partner.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, how are you ever going to have a strong relationship if he doesn't know that he's not doing what he needs to do because you're pretending that he is?
Yeah, and
It's
that's
not fair to him.
and maybe a lot of women know that we have issues with talking about it. Maybe they recognize that fear and that shame and don't want to bring it up. And but that's good if you do recognize that, because it's a difficult conversation for some of us. It's really hard to get into, very difficult to get into, and now you've got me really aware of my words.
I know, because I'm doing the same thing. I'm like, oh my goodness, Lord help us.
It is something that we need to approach carefully sometimes, but recognizing that there is these underlying things is critical. And so if we can, segue back to the finances, it's the same with your financial advisors and other people that we need to communicate and
absolutely
build those solid relationships there too.
And when you can't communicate in one area, it eventually spills over into another. And so that's why when you started off, I was like, well, this wasn't where I thought that was going, but I feel like it was definitely needed, because what are the two biggest reasons that marriages fall apart? Money and sex. And a lot of times the sex is a symbol of what's already degrading, and then it spills over into the money and vice versa. So, and a lot of it is the trust and communication. Trust and communication.
I know we need to move on. I want to say this one thing though. A friend of mine shared that he knows a psychologist who works in courts with divorce cases, and he says the vast majority of cases that go to court, divorces that go to court, could have been stopped from going to court if there had been an understanding. It's misunderstanding that has led to the vast majority of divorces, he says. And he's like, over and over again, he sees it. It's just people not communicating, not understanding each other's wants and needs has led them to court. So absolutely, bottom line, essentially.
Well, thank you again for participating. Let me go ahead and put up your banner one more time. For those of you who are interested, I have myself enrolled in the free version of the course, and I was like, he is really the real deal. He's not putting on a whole lot of airs. He's just, let me get this done and let me see, how I can help you. And I love that. And to me, it's one of those things that reminds me that, You don't have to be perfect and polished and spend thousands of dollars on this or that and the other. If you've got a heart to serve, and if you've got a calling in your life, and if you've got something to say that's going to bless people and help people, get out there and do it and see what happens. And so you can get his course at learn.kevinwillspeak.com. There's 2 different courses there. And the first one is the $49 course. That's completely self-paced. You get that free with the code WBWT for Women Building Wealth Together. And then you can get 50% off the guided version where he's walking you through it. You know, some of us like to have others walk us through it and help us poke through our answers a little bit. And you can get 50% off of that version with WBWT Live. That's WBWT Live. All right, Kevin, thanks again for being here. And on behalf of everybody, just want to appreciate you and hope you'll be back for our future conferences because this was fun. Thank you
so much. Have a great day.
All right. Waiting in the wings is another mighty man of valor who is going to give us some inspiration. It's Friday. That means it's Fired Up Friday. And I'm going to introduce him a little bit and then bring him up to the stage. You know, before I do, because I'm really, man, oh man, it's telling me we've got comments, but it's not letting me see your comments. So the comments button keeps popping up. So I don't know why it's not letting me put your comments up. But if you have a comment and you wonder why, that's why. I'm not ignoring your comments, but it's just the screen is not showing me anything past where I wrote, you don't have to learn from your own mistakes. But let's get to these issues about relationships before I bring Dr. Gadson up. A lot of our relationship issues, like Kevin just said, it's misunderstandings. And a lot of times we don't communicate. We're afraid to communicate. We don't know how to communicate. And I have had to learn that sometimes I over communicate. And I felt like I'm really doing much better now because, you know, sometimes when my husband says that my husband's upset about something, and me as a woman, I want to talk it out, and I want to get into it, and I want to dig into what on earth is bothering him. And then it's like, well, if he doesn't want to talk about it, then I'm going to just make sure, okay, did I do something to upset you? No. Are you okay? So do you want to talk about what's bothering you? No. Okay, I'm going to go do something else. I'm going to leave you alone. And then I go do something else. I go work on a course, or I go shopping, or I go do something else. And I don't go down the traditional feminine path of, oh, he's mad at me, or, oh, I've put on too much weight, or, oh, this, or, oh, that, any number of things that could have nothing to do with whatever he's sulking about. And he goes off into his cave and he sulks about it, and he does whatever he needs to do, and he processes it, he deals with it, and he comes out and he's fine. And I could have created World War III assuming that whatever he's upset about is something that I did or said, or something that he shouldn't be mad at that I did or said. You know what I mean? And it just could blow up into a whole big mess. And I had to learn to stop feeding the problem. So, well, what does this have to do about money? I came here for a conference on money, about women building wealth. Well, I'm going to tell you something. When we think that our partners are upset with us when they're not really, and we think that there's more stress in the relationship than there needs to be, or we create more stress in the relationship than there needs to be, or we don't appreciate that our partner communicates in ways that are different from us, or we don't feel like we can actually tell our partner the things that they could be doing to help us, or tell our partner the things they can't or they should stop doing that frustrates us, or that we would like them to stop doing that frustrates us. If we're in those situations, it translates directly to our ability to acquire and maintain wealth. See, when we're unhappy with our relationships, Dr. Jonas, I promise I'm going to bring you right up as soon as I get this point out. When we are unhappy with our relationships, it is a direct correspondence to our ability to be wealthy and prosper. Because what happens when we're uncomfortable inside? What happens when we're unhappy with where our life is going? One of the first places it shows up is our pocketbook. And there's a saying that is, what I eat in private shows up in public. And it's the same with our finances. We think we're doing stuff behind the scenes. We think we're shopping to massage our feelings behind the scenes. We think we're spending money on this and that behind the scenes, but it shows up in our results. It shows up in our inability to take advantage of opportunities that come our way because we spent our money on something else, hoping that this was the easy button that was going to get us to where we needed to go, instead of realizing that what was going to get us to where we needed to go is dealing with what's going on inside. All right. I am going to pause because we have a wonderful speaker waiting in the wings, and I want to bring him to you on the stage. And for those of you who came on looking for my networking talk about if a scientist can network, so can you, what I'm going to do is push that towards the end of our live session. And if for some reason the other speakers, we've got 2 more live speakers, if for some reason our other live speakers spill over into that time, then what I will do is do a very special VIP bonus session. But all of you who are live, and remind me, I will let you into that session at no cost. In fact, instead of just doing the 10-minute version, I'll do the entire 2-hour workshop. I'll record it and you'll be able to do it. It's part of my Empowered Technical Leaders series. And what I'm hoping I'll have time later to share with you is the top 2 tips to networking like a pro, even if you don't like talking to new people, even if you feel like you are more of an introverted style or you prefer to be alone. All right. And now with that, without any further ado, I want to introduce to you Dr. Jonas Gadson. Let me get his bio up here. All right. I'm going to bring him up to the, wait, let me see the comments here. Oh, I can't see them. I don't know why. I'm so sorry. Okay, but that's all right. They're in the Facebook post. Oh, I'm so sorry. Poor Dr. Jonas. She's like, she keeps saying she's going to bring me up. I know he's not saying that because he's such a gentleman, but I know if I was him, I'd be thinking it. All right. Dr. Jonas Gadson, DTM. That stands for Distinguished Toastmaster. He is known as Mr. Enthusiastic. He's an international motivational speaker, corporate trainer, radio personality, 4-time Amazon bestselling author, and expert communication coach. He worked 30 years for 2 Fortune 500 companies, Xerox and Eastman Kodak, and he has trained over 8,000 employees from 69 countries and earned the Trainer of the Year award. He is the president of Partners for Purposeful Living, LLC. I got to give you this bonus from Jonas. Dr. Jonas with the bonus. This bonus from Jonas. If you cheat yourself in your preparation, it will show up in your presentation. His motto is, since greatness is possible, excellence is not enough. Go for greatness. And we're going for greatness today. Kevin and Sabrina set the bar high, and I know that Dr. Jonas is going to rise to the occasion. Dr. Jonas Gadson, welcome to Women Building Wealth Together Conference. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Oh, I'm fired up. I'm fired up, Dr. Jonas. I'm fired up to help families change their financial future. All right, all right. Well, let's talk a little bit today about being fired up. Let's talk a little bit today about going for greatness. I do understand that we're going to do kind of an interview style, but that you're going to be focusing today on saying yes to your success. So tell me about it. What give us a good word for today.
Yes, as I always open up, there are 3 kinds of people: those that make things happen, those that watch things happen, and those who wondered what happened. I am a person that make positive things happen, and I know that you are too. So I am fired up and ready to go on this fateful, fabulous Friday, and my faith is on fire. I heard the 2 speakers earlier this morning, and I've been on all week, and I'm telling you, my cup runneth over. My cup is so full until I'm drinking out of my saucer. So I have a positive, powerful, and purposeful message for you. And before we go into interview, I just want to challenge some of the people that's on to turn your obstacle into an opportunity, to turn your stumbling block into stepping stone, and to turn your scars into stars. We know we all got hurts, habits, and hangups. We stopped by today to give you H number 4, the healing power that this is your time and this is your turn. This is the decade for the doers. And so realize that a setback is really a step back to prepare yourself to make a greater comeback. And when life knocks you down, always strive to land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. So we're going to challenge you today to take a chance, take charge, and take control of your life.
All right. Now, take charge, take of your life. Now let's talk about this, because your title that you submitted to me was "Say Yes to Your Success," and let me move my camera here so I can look right at you. My title is "Say Yes." Your title is "Say Yes to Your Success," and at first I was like, well, of course I'm saying yes to my success. But then I thought about it. I thought about all the times that I self-sabotaged. I thought about all the times where I said I wanted this, but I wasn't willing to do the effort that it took to get that. And y'all know I'm a hardworking person, but man, sometimes you just get a little tired, you know? And so tell us today, why is it so important that we say yes to our success?
Well, first of all, I want to emphasize 4 principles that as a communicator, and that's what I teach, effective communication. One of the things that you mentioned earlier, and also that Kevin mentioned, you mentioned 2 of the things that separate family. But the third one is the lack of communication. So there are 4 principles that I want to share that drives all of my motivational speeches. Number 1, educate. You have to educate, and that comes from the Latin word to lead and to draw out. And so one of my favorite books, and my people are destroyed because of lack of knowledge. We are being bombarded with information, but we are starving for knowledge. The second principle is, the first one is education. The second one is inspiration. If there ever been a time that we need to get up and get going, and we need a word of hope to live our dreams, our goals, and our aspirations, that time is now, because you can always better your best. And then when you finish your education, then when you finish with your inspiration, then you got to go to a transformation. That's a metamorphosis. I don't care how many legs a caterpillar has. I don't care how fast he can run. He can never fly until he's transformed into a butterfly. And so now you got your education, you got your transformation, you got your inspiration, you got your transformation, and then you need the motivation to get up and get going. Some people say, just give me some more motivation. Well, you don't need motivation if you're heading in the wrong direction. You need education to turn around, to say yes to your success, to say yes to your dreams, to say yes as an entrepreneur, to say yes to that book, to say yes and open up that dream or that portrait. I don't know what it is, but in order to get to your yes, you got to be willing to stand on a mountain of no's. Oh, I think I said something. I think that's a bonus from Jonas. I said, in order to get to a yes, you got to stand on a mountain of no's. And so in a few moments in the interview, we're going to do say yes. We're going to spell out success in acrostic, and I'm going to share some pointers for each one of them. So I'm fired up and ready to go. So fasten your seatbelt. We will run into some turbulence, but now when the oxygen mask drops down, don't try to put it on your neighbor. Don't try to put it on your mother or your father. First, secure your own mask first, because if you're going to have to be, do, and have. And before you can, if you want to stop doing without, you have to go within, because there's an African proverb that said, if there's no enemy without, the enemy within can do no harm. I've invested over $100,000 on my personal and professional development. We need a checkup from the head up. We need bread for the head. And so we want to challenge you today to feed your head that bread, and then allow that knowledge to touch your heart. And then you can speak with passion and with love, and you can inspire people to live their dreams, to live their goals. And then when it leaves your heart, it makes that 18 inches to affect your hand, and that you can look down on another human being, not to look down on them that you are better than, but look down so you can help somebody else up. I am so fired up. Well, JJ, would you please loose the man and let him go and grow?
Look, you keep saying interview. I'm like, I can just turn it on you and let you carry the whole rest of the conference, because I want to hear about this success. But I'm telling you, I'm gonna do a quick review, and I appreciate Beverly for putting them in the chat for us. We've got education, inspiration, transformation, and motivation. And I found, there have been times, I'll be honest with you, Dr. Jonas, there have been times where, even though I'm a very self-motivated person, there have been times where I have just not felt like myself and not felt like being motivated. And I have had to have the discipline to say, okay, I don't feel like doing anything right now, but I know I'll feel worse if I don't do something. So I take one step in the direction of my dreams. And usually that's the fire that gets me going, right? So,
Yes, fired up and ready to go. And I say often that fear and doubt knocked on the door. Faith opened it up, and there was nobody there. My faith is on fire. So when you don't feel, when you don't feel like it, do it and tell. See, feeling is the feeling. Don't ever allow feeling to be in the drivers of your life.
That's right.
See, feeling make a wonderful driver, but a wonderful passenger, but a lousy driver. And so when you take care of your fear, and then you take care of your feeling and substitute that with faith, and then your faith is on fire. You don't have to feel it to do it. Do it until you feel it.
Woo! All right.
It's right. I came ready today.
Yes, you did. Okay, so I'm going to do what Miss Jackie just suggested. I am going to turn you loose, because I want to hear about this acronym, and I don't want to interrupt you while you're giving us this gold. Is that okay with you?
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
All right, y'all. Here we go. Say yes to your success.
All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to spell out success in acrostic way, acrostic sense. It's SUCCESS. Now, there's no secret to success, but there's a system to success. Oh, that's a bonus from Jonas. I said there's no secret to success, but there's a system to success. And the only place you will find success without work is in the dictionary. And success leaves steps. And so I want to challenge you to realize there's nearly 8 billion people on the planet, and there'll never be another one just like you. No one else can duplicate your fingerprint, your handwriting, or your child. This is your time, and this is your turn. And so as I spell out success in acrostic says, the first S, you have to get a larger vision of yourself. What you want to be, you have to first see. You got to see what you want to be. One of my favorite books said, my people are destroyed because where there's no vision, the people perish. What is your vision? What do you plan to do for your life? What kind of business you're going to go? What is the book that you're going to write? And let me tell you something. While you're on that, you got to get a larger vision of yourself. You got to realize that this is your time and this is your turn. This is the decade for the doers. And by the way, since we are focusing on the attributes of people, you don't need any one person, but you do need people. I think I said something. You don't need no one person. You need people, but you have to love people. I never meet a group of people that didn't bring me joy. Now, I will admit that some people bring me joy when they enter the room. Others bring me joy when they leave the room, but nevertheless, they bring me joy. I love people. I just love working with people. And so that's critical. And you are important. And you need to, I said earlier, there's an African proverb that there's no enemy within, the enemy without. will do no harm. And so many of us are spending so much investing on working on the outside of ourselves when we need to be working from the inside. One of my favorite books said, you came here with a gift. You are pregnant with possibility. Don't abort your birth. Don't abort your dream. Birth your dream. So if you develop that gift will take you in front of kings. That gift will cause you to get that promotion. That gift will cause you to write that book. We need to hear your story. We need to hear your voice, because this is your time. You are not a victim. You are a victor. And then the you, and say yes to yourself. You are important. There's no one more important. You are fearfully and wonderfully made in the image and in the likeness of our Creator. You have His creation. You have His DNA. So you are important. You have to make up your mind. If it's going to be, it's up to me. And if you're going to get through, it's up to you. See, understand this, bonus to Jones. I can't do what you can do, and you can't do what I can do, but together we can do great things. And we talked earlier about team. Teamwork make the dream work. And when we're talking about team, everyone achieves more. There's no I in team. So if you're going to bring in the people, you're going to have to be a laser learner. Now, there's a difference between a lifelong learner and a laser learner. I used to be a lifelong learner. It helped me a lot. But I found out I was learning a lot of things that was irrelevant and I didn't need. So in my brand new book in 2022, I'm making a distinction between a lifelong learner and a laser learner. See, a laser is so powerful. If you hold it in your hand and keep it focused, it'll burn through steel. Another thing about being a laser learner, you know exactly what you're going into a thing for, and you're not coming out with something else. So be a laser learner. And then not only the S is getting a larger vision, you are important. And then the first C is commitment. You gotta be committed. You got to be committed to your dreams, your goals, and your aspiration. You're going to have to climb and sit on a mountain of no's to get to your yes. You got to be committed. You got to invest in the most important person on the planet. That's you. So you're going to have to get you a coach to get you where you want to go. I got a different version from what Kevin said. It said, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, get you a coach. That's what I have in my life. I have coaches. I have coaches that's going to stretch me. You see, our brain is designed like a rubber band. If once it's stretched, it's never going to be complacent and going back to the same side. That's what this conference does. That's what this women are building wealth together. Together, we're going to do it. Men and women to take our rightful place, to live our legacy. One of my favorite verses said in 3 John 1:2, Beloved, I wish above all things that you will prosper and be in health, even as your soul also prosper. He wants us to prosper. And the Creator said, I came that you could have life and have life more abundantly. And listen, would you please not die before you first live? We stopped by today, this weekend, the last 3 days, to rob the graveyard of your dreams, of your goals, and your aspiration. And then the second C, in say yes to your success, is to learn how to communicate effectively. Always make your word short and sweet, because you never know which one you have to eat. And always remember that communication from the Latin word is to lead and to draw out. And if you know how to communicate, those of you in small business, people don't buy your product, they buy you. And they buy who? Can they trust you? Do they like you? Come on. Can they trust you? Are you likable? Do you care about them? So that commitment, but you have to present the product There's a saying that says people now make a judgment on you in the first 3 seconds when you walk in. The other 7 seconds is when you open your mouth. How do you communicate? How do you tell people about your dreams, your goals, and your aspirations? How do you get that raise? How do you get buy-in that somebody wants to invest in your business? It's all about effective communication. Because if you cheat yourself in your preparation, it will show up in your presentation. Oh, I'm hot tonight, today. Bonus from Jonas. If you cheat yourself in your preparation, it will show up in your presentation. So communication is critical. You're going to get that raise. You got to do a presentation tomorrow in front of the board members. You got to give a presentation to this company that you want to sell to bring you in as a trainer. It's all about communication. And my gift that I'm going to give you at the end is about communication. It'll share the 7 C's, that effective communication. Plus, I'm going to give you an extra gift that when you call and put your information in and call me, I will be willing to give you a 15 minutes one-on-one conference call on how to become an effective communication. Bring something that you are presenting to your decision maker, and I'll show you in 15 minutes how you can make it be more effective. And then the E, to say yes to your success. Again, is the education. Always invest in you. Invest in you. You're important. Some of us are guilty of investing on ourselves, but we haven't put anything in ourselves. We need a checkup from the neck up. And one of my favorite scriptures said, be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by renewing of your mind. A checkup from the neck up. The Phillips translation said, don't let none squeeze you. Don't let the world squeeze you into its mold. And so get the education. Get you a tutor. Get you a coach in the area. And by the way, unless I'm on this limb, let me pick this fruit. Do not focus on your weakness. That is bad suggestion. You can focus on your weakness for the rest of your life, and you're still going to be weak. Focus on your strength. Delegate your weakness. Get somebody else. My gift is communication. My gift is motivation. So I'm going to stay in my lane of my gifting. Some of you are out of your lane. So education is very important. And then the second S, to say yes to your success, you got to be willing to serve. Bonus from Jonas. Service is the rent that you pay for the space that you occupy on this planet. And some of you are behind on your rent. If you want to be a good seller, serve. Dr. Martin Luther King said, everybody can be great because everybody can be a servant. Serve your way to greatness. And by the way, bonus from Jonas, when your value is clear, your decision is easy. Oh, I think I said something that's a bonus from Jonas. I say when your value is clear, your decision is easy. As a matter of fact, if you want to make more money, write the word money, spell it out, then underneath it, write the word value. And if you want to make more money, increase your value that you bring to your potential client. Because it's a value. This is a value. Why do some people go to McDonald's and they're paid $8 an hour? Someone else go and give a 45-minute speech and paid $100,000. Why is that happening? The value at McDonald's, your only value is worth to them is 6 to 8 hours. 8 hours. The person who is transforming people's lives $100,000 because the value. Ask yourself, whatever you're doing, what are the value that you bring for the person that is not about you, babe? Boo, it's not about you. This thing is bigger than you, and it's bigger than me. And so it's very, very important that we serve. One of the person that I respect, he said the way to go up is to go down. Don't be driven by your title. Be driven by your towel. Take your towel and serve humanity. Serve your customer. Serve your client. Serve your wife. Serve your husband. Serve your mother. Happy Mother's Day. Serve. Because service will get you there. And then the last S. They say yes to your success. We need to hear your story. I was born on a plantation in South Carolina, St. Helena Island. It's so deep in the South until they call it the Low Country. It's not the end of the world, but you can almost see the end of the world from where I was born. But it doesn't matter where I was born. It doesn't matter where you were born. It doesn't matter where you are right now. What does matter is where you're going. I was born and I was a healthy baby. But when I got 4 years old, my stomach started protruding as if I was 9 months pregnant. My mother rushed me to the hospital in Charleston, South Carolina. The doctors took a look at my stomach and told my mother and told me that I'm going to die. 8 other babies laying out there dead, and they said I was going to be number 9. So they rushed me in the operational room, and they opened up my stomach and took out this huge tumor. And then they showed me back up, rushed me in the recovering room. And as I was laying there, 4 years old, heavy sedating, my stomach are hurting me because of the stitches that were in my stomach. I look over in the corner, and there go my mother by my side. Even though she had 11 children, she was there by my side. Because my mother, I call her my marvelous mother, because she's been my Motel 6. She kept the light on for me. Then all of a sudden, I don't know if they cleansed the utensil because they weren't expecting me to live anyway. So I had a massive infection. So they came back and rushed me back in emergency. They had the second operation, and they went back into the side, my side, to clean up the infection, only to find out that infection has spread over on the right side of my kidney and had affected the kidney. And they took it out. So recently I found out that I only had one kidney. And it's only been performing 5 to 8%. But here's your bonus. And you only get this bonus from Jonas. See, the doctors gave a diagnosis, but the God of heaven had the final prognosis. And here's your bonus. And you only get this bonus from Jonas. Don't let anyone bury you until after you're dead. You're bigger than that. You're better than that. And the best is still in you. Allow the best to bud, to bloom, and to blossom into a bright and beautiful future. Maybe some of you saying, Dr. Gadson, I can't relate to the operation. But maybe someone fired you from a job. Maybe you're suffering from a divorce or accident. Or maybe you got some other debilitating diseases that you're fighting. I just want you to say yes for your success, to get a larger vision of yourself, that you are important, to be committed to your dreams, your goals, and your aspiration, to be an effective communicator. Stand up to be seen. Speak up to be heard. Sit down to be appreciated. The E is saying yes to your success. It's to educate. It's to lead and to draw out the greatness that is in you. Bonus from Jonas. Don't turn your couch into a coffin. Ooh, I think I said something. I'm getting ready to close. Don't turn your couch into a coffin. See, life is like an elevator. It all depends on what button you push. If you push one button will take you up, and the other button will take you down. Some of us is in the basement of our life when we need to be in the penthouse with our dreams, our goals, and our aspiration. And then the second S, sustain the pace. Never give up, never give in, and never give out. But also to serve, because service is the rent that you pay for the space that you occupy on this planet. And some of you are behind on your rent. And then last S, to say yes to your success. We need to hear your story. What happened to you happened for you. We need to waiting on you to watch you overcome. You are not a victim. You are a victor. You might have been in the valley, but learn, get a lesson in the valley. And even though as I walk through the shadow of the valley of death, it wasn't as dark as David made it seem, because he saw a shadow. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, but make sure it's not a train coming. Make sure it's the light, because you're supposed to be the light of the world. What happened? It didn't happen to you. It happened for you. So say yes to your success. It's S, U, C, C, E, S, S. Say yes. Now, I'm going to leave a quick story with you. But before I do that, you can go to www.jonasbonus.com. That's www.jonasbonus.com for your free gift. You'll get the 7 C's of effective communicator. I'm a coach. I'm also offering, for those who call me, the first 10, I have 15 minutes with a one-on-one. You're getting ready to do a presentation, and you need to give him. I'll give you as a contribution because you've been to this summit. You've been to this conference. And JJ did an awesome, awesome job in women building wealth. Together, we can do more. Now, I'm going to close with something a little humorous. In dedication of all mothers for Mother's Day, there was a lady, and she was 83 years old. And she said, I'll have you to know that I'm 83 years old, and I have 4 boyfriends. Oh, I hear some sisters say, man, you talking about 4 boyfriends? I'm single. I can't hardly find one. 4 boyfriends? And she's 84 years old? And someone said, well, how did she do it? She said, Every morning, remember, she's 84 years old. Every morning, I get up with boyfriend number 1, will power. I go walking with boyfriend number 2, Arthur Riders. I return home with boyfriend number 3, Charlie Horse, and I spend the evening with Ben K. This has been Dr. Jonas with the bonus saying, say yes to your success. And remember, since greatness is possible, excellent is not enough. Go for greatness. Go for greatness and say yes to your success. JJ.
Goodness, yes, yes, yes. Say yes, yes, yes to this success today. Dr. Jonas, you brought the fire, and we appreciate you so much. I want to make sure everybody knows you can go right now to jonasbonus.com and get that free report, and then you can call him and give your details, and you'll be able to get your special session with him and bring your product to the table, and virtual table, phone table, and he will actually work with you and workshop with you to take that communication to a higher level. Thank you so much, Dr. Jonas, for being here with us today in the Women Building Wealth Together conference. Let's see. I'm going to bring up somebody else. I'm going to put Dr. Jonas. I'm going to move you into the waiting room. But before I do, again, I just want to say appreciate you and thank you. Okay, I'm going to bring up next someone who just captured my heart, because what she talks about is how good health makes everything better. And we've talked about a lot of different issues regarding wealth. Oops, let me take this banner down. We've talked about a lot of different issues regarding wealth, but the thing is, you've noticed we've talked about health and we've talked about relationships. And so I want to bring to you an emerging speaker who has a big heart to help people succeed when it comes to their health. And she has an amazing testimony that I'm going to let her tell you as I bring her up from backstage. And then I'm going to also, actually, let me just go ahead and do that now. Hi, Jessy. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Hi, JJ. Thanks for doing this awesome work. You are amazing.
Thank you for being here today. Can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself? Because I was going to try to tell some of your story, but I know we haven't known each other that long. But when we met at that Strategic Alliance conference, I was like, this woman's got something to say and an impressive story that my audience needs to hear. Can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I am an electrical engineer from India, came to US and took my master's in engineering management. Loved everything America had to offer. In a nutshell, especially the food. And I became diabetic in the short period of 4 years of my first 4 years of life in America. I enjoyed everything food wise America had to offer, and I felt like a kid in a candy store. All the brownies and the pancakes and waffles and toaster strudels were my go to for breakfast. And when I became diabetic, again, I lived on medication and was okay with it until I became really sick with obesity, with edema, acid reflux, you name it, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. I had everything. And, when you have all these sickness, stress only creates more bad effects to that. And stress creates more inflammation. And I was just climbing up on my sickness level. And then all of a sudden I lost my job. That added to my depression. I got depressed too. But I am a believer, I'm a Christian. God took me right into his hands and told me, take a break, work on yourself. That's how I became a health coach. I reversed my diabetes in 3 months. And then God told me, this is what he wanted me to do, help others to improve their health. Health is wealth. If we have good health, we can do anything to make money, right? Money is important. I'm not saying money is not important, but if you have good health, you're saving money on medication. If you're eating better, you're not spending money on junk food that often comes on sale and tempts you to buy. You keep buying it. You may have it in your pantry 10 whatever you bought 10 years from before, right? Things like that. I was one of those persons. I had all the goodies sitting there and never used, then I had to dispose it when expired. That's how I became a health coach. I got curious. I wanted to learn about my body and how nutrition affects health and reverse the diabetes, got off of blood pressure medications, no more edema, and I can now fit into regular shoes. And then asthma is gone, allergies are gone. How majestic is our savior and our body. When we put ourselves and into this curiosity and the learning adventure with the help of God, where we are not discouraged and not self sabotaging, we can do it. When we improve our health, we are saving money in all aspects. That means we are improving our financial status also, when you don't have to spend money on tons of medications. Like my asthma inhaler cost me more than $100 a month. I was on preventive, rescue inhalers, and steroid inhalers, plus nebulizer. Think about all the money that I don't have to spend anymore on all these medications. That's how I became passionate about health. Took a certification. I'm a precision nutrition certified health coach. My passion is to help people get out of this, diet roller coaster and learn to eat what suits your body, that is needed for nutrition, reducing inflammation, and aging healthfully, so that we are not bedridden and dependent on others. We can move around and live a healthy life. That's the short story.
Well, I know you have a prepared talk for us today, but I wanted you to share your story because for me, and I know a lot of people say this when they get to be more mature, that we wish we understood how important these things were when we were younger. And for me, the injuries that I've had and the health issues that I've had required me to learn about how my body works and about how we really can transform ourselves with food. And I had an interesting experience the other day. My family does not eat quite as healthily as I do, and I used to try to force a lot of my diet onto them, and I found out that I was really just throwing away food that my husband worked very hard to put on our table, and that they would just go out and get whatever they were going to get. And so I've had to be more creative about introducing those things in. But the other day, my husband was going to have concerts and he was going to have this and that and that. And so I told him, I said, well, we're going to buy mostly veggie meals this week. And two things happened. And then I'm going to let you give your story, give your presentation. But two things happened that really blew me away. Every cell in my body started to get excited when I was putting into the buggy the food like I used to eat when I was first caring about my health. And over the last couple of weeks, I'd kind of slid into, end of school and things, life happens. I had slid into poor eating habits and and cooking poor meals for the family. In my opinion, poor meals, yummy meals, but poor meals health wise. Every cell in my body, as I'm putting all this fruit and these vegetables and all these different things into the buggy, and every cell in my body was like, yay. And I thought, that is something that I can feel my body saying, we've been on this junky food for the last month or two and we're tired of it. We want you to go back to this. And so then I decided, well, we're just going to stick with it. And I was so shocked that even my teenager was getting multiple helpings of all these good vegetables and things like that I had thought, well, over the last couple of months, they haven't been eating anything, so I'm going to cook them what they want. And I'm just saying all of this as a preface because I don't think we realize sometimes how important our food is to having the stamina and the emotional reserve to being able to build wealth, to be wealthy and prosper. And I find for me that if I hadn't eaten healthy, if I hadn't eaten the way that I've eaten in the last week, I wouldn't, and if I hadn't exercised, I wouldn't have the stamina to conduct this conference, to do all of these interviews and manage the broadcasts and all the different things that we're doing. I wouldn't have had the stamina. So I really do appreciate you being here today. I know this is kind of a new thing for you, but when I heard your story, I was like, we got to share it. And so thank you for being here today. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you. I've got your free offer loaded to be able to bring up to everybody when you're ready to announce it. And I'll just be backstage listening and having fun. Thank you so much, Jessy.
First thing we need to understand about ourselves. In order to make a change, we need to have a desire, and we need to be able to listen to our body so that we can really dive deep in and see what exactly is our body need. We are immediately after we are born, food is that our first source of energy we had, right? The moment we were born, we were fed milk, mom's milk or whatever the option we had. So there starts. Food is everything. What we eat controls how we live every day. Our energy, our gut microbiome, everything is affected by the food we eat. Even our emotions. If we eat food, junk food, what happens is our blood sugar goes high, and then all of a sudden it drops, and then we feel like sleepy. That means we feel more drowsy and depressed and may not even stay focused, right? So one thing I want to do for the audience is a simple body scan where we really appreciate our body part. It is when I say the name of the body part, you can bring attention to that body part and see why you are grateful for, and how you are grateful for that body today at this time. How is it serving you? I just want to give this exercise so that you can just scan your body top to bottom and be grateful and see how that area feels. Do you have a tension? Are you feeling relaxed? And you can, each time when I say the name of the body part, you can breathe in and then slowly breathe out. I'll give you like a few seconds for everything, so you have time to just do a relaxation exercise. Then I'll dive deep into about saving money and wealth and all those things. Okay, you can close your eyes and find a relaxing position. I always say, like a bamboo shoot grows up, keep your spine straight so that you can you know sit straight up. That is an indication that your spine is upright. There's a spinal fluid that flows from spine all the way to our brain. When you sit up, it is easy for it to flow. All right, we'll start from the head and go down and just be grateful for what we have today, right? We can only find happiness in the present moment. So think about, imagine, your head. If you cannot feel, you can even touch and feel your head and see how it serves you today. Our skull protects our brain, and our brain has so many functions, so many areas within there, right? Our intelligence, gives us focus. It gives us so many signals to control our cravings and desire to eat, and when we have to stop, all those controlled by our head. So I want you to take a deep breath and just see how you can be grateful for, or why you are grateful for your head, and just take one moment. Now let's focus on to our forehead, our face, our eyes. One of the things I suffered was diabetes, and one of the consequences of diabetes is eyesight. People can lose eyesight. So it's important. Now we can see, right? I hope you all can see using your eyes. And when you close your eyes, you have eyelids that closes and then opens, and it lets you see all the beauty that God has created for us to enjoy. You can see your food. You can appreciate your food. Many more. You can appreciate your family, all those things. And just take a deep breath and be grateful for your eyes. And let's now come down to our nose. See, we don't even pay attention to our breath most of the time, right? But our body is so magnificent, it breathes automatically. We don't need to restart, we don't need to do anything like we do to our phones or computers. It automatically functions. God created us such a design that is flawless. Being an engineer, I know I sometimes use these terms, and just be grateful for your breath that nourishes from head to toe every part of your body. And let's be grateful for our lips and our face and our mouth. It's a big deal. Like that is our entry system to our body. Food goes through our mouth. Our saliva produces it. Too many functions that I cannot just talk about it right now. But just think about how you are grateful for your mouth and what it serves you, and just be there and see if there is any tension, a pain, or any irritation in your mouth, and just breathe out and relax. And let's now focus on our neck. See, our head, if there was no neck that supports it, it would be dangling, right? So there is like a strong system here that supports our head and our body and connects our body to head. And see if you have, most of the people experience a lot of tension around neck and shoulders. Just breathe into our neck and just be grateful for that area. And let's take a deep breath and just relax our shoulders and just be grateful for that. This helps you to see if you have tension or if you have any pain in any of these areas. You are bringing attention to that area. Let's focus on our hands. Again, we do so many things. We work with our phone and the computers and the mouse, and we eat. The functions are enormous. But at this moment, how is it serving you? How is your hand serving you? Just be grateful for that. Now let's bring our attention to our chest and just think about the organs that is inside our chest. How many are functioning again without us paying attention to it? Our heart, our lungs. Just be grateful for that. Let's go down to our abdomen, the main area where all the magic happens. The food digests, then transfers to our rest of the part of the body. And just be grateful for that. And our spine, that helps us sit straight. And let's move down to our pelvic area. Lots of functions there, right? Our excretion system, it helps us healthy, supports our body to a chair, many things. At this time, whatever comes to your mind, just remember and be grateful for that. Our knees, it bends, it stretches, so many functions, helps us climb stairs, helps us walk down, all the amazing things that we do every day. Let's now go down to our shin that supports our feet and our whole body. The muscles there. Now our feet. Our toes, just wiggle the toes and see how it's feeling. How supported on the floor, on the carpet, wherever you are. Take a deep breath. Now you can open your eyes. This is one way to tune into your body. I'm just giving a tip where you can take like less than 5 minutes in the morning. Just go from top to bottom and see how you're feeling. And just see if you can be grateful for your body, and how you can thank God for a fully functioning body. All right, now let's talk about how we can save money when we have better health, right? I know money is a touchy subject, but we need money. Money is a tool that we can use the way we want. And we need to have a better concept about money, how it works, and how we can save, right? We cannot always, have a lot of money, but some people have. And what we save is like what we are making. So if you can save what you have, it is like making money. That's how I was start growing up, and I believe that is really good. It doesn't bring any money negative thoughts, but it's about how you view the money, right? So one of the areas where I focus on is saving money on groceries. So I always save 40 to 60% without using coupons or anything by shopping at sales. So I plan my meals based on the store sale. Of course, that doesn't mean I'm planning, something different or anything, but most of the time stores have one or two meat on a sale, vegetable, lots of fresh vegetables on sale. Some stores have loss leaders, and we don't need junk food, right? We only focus on good fat, good protein, and good vegetables. So if you can get them on sale and you can plan ahead a meal for the whole week, you are good to go. You don't need to make quick decisions like going to the grocery store or fast food for a meal. And when you have planned it and have meals on hand, you can just grab and go. I plan my meals on weekends, and I have my lunch all packed the same day when I cook or when I plan. I just have to grab and go when I go to work. How easy is that, right? I know we have children, their desires may be different, just like JJ said, but we can all do what what we can do the best we can with what we have. You don't need to go extravagant. That's what I'm saying. So if you buy a whole chicken, you can roast it. Here is an example. And then use it in multiple ways to create meals. You can make a salad with it, maybe even make a jar salad and then, mason jar salad and keep it in the refrigerator so you can grab and go. Or I do, evenings are salads for me because that's very easy to do. And I will have veggies, greens. Again, I buy what is on sale, or sometimes I grow if the season allows me. I have the things that I can grow. Then I have them and the greens and everything, and then put some protein source on it. And there are tons of options. You don't need to be, somebody told me I'm not a meat eater. You don't need to be a meat eater. There's so many ways you can add protein to your meals, right? You can do organic tofu if you are a vegetarian, or you can use eggs, and there are multiple ways. Otherwise, you can use fish if you are I like fish. So if you're a fish lover, right? You just need a source of protein because our body needs protein. We don't want to lose our muscle. We don't want, we need lots of amino acids in our body. I'm not talking about, high-tech nutrition or anything. I just want to give guidance, right? So if you have that, you are good to go. And, again, lunch can be similar and breakfast can be similar. And once you start a healthy lifestyle, you may not even need to eat a whole lot of food. I don't need to eat breakfast anymore. But it took some time to get there, to understand my hunger and to feel the hunger. So it's about each individual is different, their circumstances different, but we can all do the best we can with what we have. That's the only thing we need to do. We don't need to compare us with others. We don't need to do anything extravagant. So if you have any questions about any of those things like meal planning or creating, recipes your family loves, I'm happy to help. Okay. Um, so I have 7-day meal plan that I'm giving free. And of course, you are, and JJ will post the link, and you are welcome to ask me any questions you want about it. Okay. And I also want to tell about saving money on medications. When you are improving your health, you don't need the medication. You're automatically saving the money. And then maybe even in health insurance, you can select a high deductible health insurance because you're not going to the doctor. You don't need the money, right? You don't need to put money into the health insurance when you have a high deductible. You only need to spend when you need to. So you can save that money, put away, invest it, and then use it if you ever have to. That's one tip that I use because we don't need any more of doctor visits. I used to go see doctor every month because of my health issues. Now I don't. I only go once a year now. That's amazing, right? So I don't need it. Only for physical checkup I go. And similar to that, you can always ask me. I'm available to answer questions. My passion is to help people reverse metabolic disorders like diabetes and live a healthy lifestyle and create routines and habits in their life so they don't have to struggle through things. When we have our habits, routines in place, we automatically can take care of that. Yeah, that's what I have to say.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful, Jessy. Thank you so much for participating today. Everybody, I just downloaded her meal plan and she lays it out for you. The things I was actually pleasantly surprised at some of the things that are on her list. And Jessy, I wanted to address this real quick because I just knew this was going to be one of those no fat, no sugar, no taste kind of eating plans. But there's actually a lot of really yummy things here. And then you have down at the bottom only full fat versions of some certain food that I was not expecting. Can you talk a little bit about that before we let you go?
Sure. Fat is not your enemy. We need fat to function a lot of things in our body. Vitamins are carried around like vitamin E and all need fat for it to go to different parts of our body. And fat is cushioning, supporting our body. And fat is really good. Okay. But when we eat margarine or hydrogenated fats, means they have an extra hydrogen atom added by us humans, right? That's not good for us. It's not natural. Fat that occurs naturally, like coconut oil, olive oil, that's fully pressed, that's natural. Those are really good for us. That's not going to harm. They have lots of omega-3 that is great for reducing cholesterol and stuff like that if you're worried about it. And when you eat real fat, and when you go for the low fat items, what happens is we need to have the taste, right? So the manufacturers add more sugar when it is low fat. So that's not improving our health, but it improves our taste. That's why I suggest adding full fat, and I reduced my weight using full fat. Isn't that amazing? So fat is not your enemy, but we need to have adequate supply of nutrition, water. Our body, is a lot of us fail to drink water. So setting intentions to drink water and eating nutritious food. And also, I'm an Indian and I use a lot of spices to flavor food. So the food is awesome when you flavor it. And there is no bland food in my life. And you're not going to get bored with that. You can always do variations of spices to improve the flavor, ginger and garlic, and they are all full of nutrition in them and taste in them and anti-inflammatory properties. So you will never be, deprived, and there is no starvation. If you can eat as much as you want, the food from the list, it is not starving. But when we think that we need to have the flour and the bread and things like that, just because we are used to that, that is not what is going to serve us. That is the mindset that we have, because we are brought up in that way, feeding bread as main item. That's why we think that way. So the fat is your friend, not your enemy. So always go for natural, healthy fat. And one of the things is canola oil. I used to use that, and everybody uses it. And I didn't know there is nothing called canola oil. I'm new to US and I didn't know what canola was. Then I watched a video on YouTube and I quit using that immediately. How it is processed and how it's made.
And I've had several people from outside of this country who have moved here, and they have themselves made the comment that I did not change what I ate, but something about the American processing of the food made me put on 20 pounds, even though I eat the exact same food that I ate back home in Ukraine, or I ate back home in Brazil, or I ate back home in these other different places. So we have to be aware that this is an issue. That doesn't mean we don't eat anything from the grocery store. Now I'm in I've lived as a military family. I've lived all over the world. And so some places you live at, you have more access to healthier food than you do others, but we can always find a way to make it work. And so I just love this. I also wanted to give you a shout out because I love that your website is Sensible Keto with sense, CENT, because I think the first problem that we have when we want to do that change in our life is we think about how much it costs. And after COVID has tripled or quadrupled the price of meat, actually I think it is starting to be cheaper to eat vegetables again. But before COVID, it was pretty pricey to eat organic and to try to minimize the foreign substances that come into your body, so it's less that your body has to overcome to be in good health. Man, we could talk about this all day, but we do need to move on and get ready for our broadcast. Jessy, I want to thank you for being here. Everybody, if you're listening, don't forget to get her free handout. You can get it there at the link that's on the page. And you can also visit her website, sensibleketo.com, where the sense is spelled like CENTS. I'm just really
Yeah,
excited about this
I have
project.
lots of recipes, lots of healthy recipes there people can experiment with. Thank you.
And it's important to make it healthy and easy. There was one time where when I first started learning about the neurology of my injuries and how to eat right for my brain, I was going through these recipes. They were taking 2 and 3 hours a day, and then they weren't even, my family was not enjoying them. And it's like, okay, you know what? Let's get back to basics. It really doesn't take that much effort to put together a stir fry or to put together fajitas and maybe and even I try to minimize tomatoes now because it can be very inflammatory. But even a homemade guacamole, you know, it's very easy and healthy fat. And I was just like, wow, and so filling. So anyway, I could talk about this all day long. But Jessy, thank you again
All
for
right,
being
thank
here.
you.
We're gonna let you go on to the rest of your day. But if anybody wants to contact her, you've got the website information right there. Thanks again,
Thank
Jessy.
you.
Take
Thank
care.
you. Appreciate you.
Okay. So this has just been a lot of fun, And now I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to give you all a little bit of a presentation that was from what I was supposed to talk about earlier about how you can how if a scientist can network, anyone can, right? So what I wanted to do before I get into that is I do want to um, remind you, let me pull up these banners. I do want to remind you that this conference is coming to a close, but the concepts that we've learned today, they don't ever have to go away in your life. We talked in the beginning of today's session about how a lot of times we come to these events, we get all inspired, we get all encouraged, and we're just so excited about everything. And then we find the inevitable happens. Life begins to crowd itself back in. We download Jessy's handout on eating, and we just know that we are going to be the ones that eat healthy for the rest of the summer, and we're going to drop 30 pounds. I think she dropped 38 pounds simply by changing some tweaks in her diet. I think we think these things, but then life happens and life gets in the way. And unless we're intentional, then we don't really make the change that we need to make. And so I'm going to offer to you a challenge today. I'm going to offer to you a challenge. If you will download your book, which you can get at Women's Wealth Summit, or you can get when you upgrade. If you will go and upgrade, this is my challenge to you. If you will go and upgrade, and you will get access to all of the talks, all the MP3s of the talks, as well as the MP4s that you can stream. You download those MP3s to your phone, and you'll be able to hear them wherever you want. All of day one has already been uploaded. But, now that I think about it, though, because I have such good commentary in between, I think I'm going to upload these raw videos as well. So I still need to do that for day one. But all of the talks have been uploaded and already. If you will go through and you will register at Women's Wealth VIP, so you will upgrade to VIP, so you have lifetime access, and you will pull out that workbook. Okay, you'll pull out that workbook, which I'm going to see if I can share it with you here in a second. If you'll pull out the workbook, and every day you'll go through and watch one of these videos or listen to one of these talks. Most of them are only 15 to 20 minutes. There's a couple that are longer, but if every day you'll go through and do each one of these talks, it should take you about a month. If you will fill out notes, and you will send me at the end of that month, you will send me your booklet filled out with your notes, something you learned from each of the teachers, each of the keynoters, something you're going to put into practice. If you will do that, then what I will do is I will actually reimburse your fee for upgrading to VIP. Now, there's 2 requirements that you have to have in order for this challenge to stick. Okay, so here's what you're going to have to do. You go and you upgrade to VIP, and you upgrade to VIP today. By 11:59 p.m. tonight, you have upgraded to VIP. All right, I am going to give you 2 months to get through all of the talks. All right. So there's 34 talks. I think there are 34 talks. That's 2 months. That gives you time off on the weekends to be with your family, or gives you some flex time to, I was doing it every day and then life happened and I need to pick back up. Right. That gives you time. So we're going to say this. It needs to be, to me, 2 months would be 4th of July weekend, 60 days. Would be 4th of July weekend. So you need to get it to me by 11:59, the 5th of July. All right. And what you're going to get to me, let me go into, I'm trying to share this now. Let me see if I can share this. I'm trying to share the screen here. I'm going to show you what this booklet looks like. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do. If you will do this by the deadline, I will reimburse your cost. Why would you do that? Why would you spend money on that? Because it already costs money to host it. You're actually going to lose money, JJ. Well, let me tell you something that I know about human behavior. I know that if you go through this booklet, and if you listen to every one of these talks again, and if you will fill out the pages, I'm about to pull it up so you can see it. I'm trying to get it to show on the screen there. Let me see if I can do it. Two page rolls. So how can she do that? How on earth can she do that? I'm going to tell you how I can do that. All right, let's see. Is that working now? Share screen. There we go. The reason I can do this is because I know, let me take this off. I know that if you will go through and you will fill out for each of these talks, if you will fill out something you learned from each of these talks. Let me make that just a little smaller there. And one thing that you will commit to doing that day. That's why I'm only asking you to do one a day, right? If you will do something every day as a result of what you learned on these talks, I know it's going to change your life. And you know what? Because my calling is to help change lives, my calling is to equip God's people, then I already know that if you will do this challenge, if you will watch these talks, if you will take one action every day as a result of what you've learned from each of these great leaders, then I know it's going to change your life, and I'll know that I have fulfilled my calling. So I want to encourage you to go out there right now to Women's Wealth Summit VIP or Women's Wealth VIP. Let me put that link back on Women's Wealth VIP, and go ahead and register for your upgrade and begin this challenge. You have until 5 July to complete this challenge, and you will receive a full refund. And what you're going to send me is a scan of your workbook. Now, look, I'm not going to read all your juicy details. All right. I'm just going to look to see that you've done it. Okay. We're going to have that level of respect between us. You're going to go into this. You're going to send me a scan of your workbook pages, and you're going to show me that you have listened to the speakers and that you have committed to taking action for each one of them. All right. All right. Is there any questions before we switch over? Oh, yes, I'm going to do I'm going to do something really quick. I'm going to do a quick excerpt of the what do you call it? The networking thing. Okay. So I am going to put together, make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you're subscribed. If you have not subscribed to the conference, you can go to womenswealthsummit.com. If you're just watching, if you just came across this, if a friend tagged you in it, go to womenswealthsummit.com. Only if you are subscribed in that list, which means you put your name and email in to get your free ticket, even though the conference is only got a couple hours left. Only the people who have got their ticket, or the speakers. Okay. So all my speakers are also all the speakers, only the people who have got their ticket. And so how do you know if you have your ticket? Well, you have your ticket when you have submitted this form, or you are a speaker, or you have applied to be a speaker, and maybe you weren't selected for whatever reason. Maybe you weren't selected for whatever reason that is. Then in that case, yes, you will also receive the notice, because I converted your application to a ticket. And so that's why you've been, some of you are like, how did I get the emails for this? I didn't even know it was a conference going on. I applied for it, but I didn't get selected, and whatever. And I'm like, well, because I converted your ticket. I converted your application to a ticket. Okay. So let me go ahead and remove that real quick. I'm going to show you something else real quick. And then we've got about 5 minutes before the broadcast comes out. I am going to give you my super secret networking technique. All right. Now, I say this is my super secret networking technique. This actually isn't my super secret networking technique. I got this from Dr. Ivan Meisner, who I found out after the fact. Here I am. I'm like, oh, I don't know who this guy is, but everybody seems to be around him. So I'm just going to go up to him and start talking to him. Right. And then later on at the John Maxwell conference, he starts presenting on networking. Turns out he's the founder of BNI, Business Networking International. And I'm like, really? The guy that I chased down in my frumpy sweater. So I still have that picture. I cherish that picture, in my frumpy sweater and my travel pants. I mean, I was just an opportunist. Here's this guy with all these people trying to take pictures with him. I don't know who he is, but he's standing there, and by the time I get there, there's only one other person. So of course, I don't know who he is, but he must be somebody. He must be somebody. And so we sit there, we have a lovely chat. He doesn't tell me who he is. We have a lovely chat. And y'all, I'm telling you, the next day after his presentation, he actually comes to our table, and he's like, I specifically sought you out because you were so bold in coming up to me. And I was like, I'm so sorry, sir. I have to volunteer, and I've got to eat and run. So you're sitting here, and I'm honored, but I got to go. And I felt so bad. I was just like, this multi-millionaire This was early in my John Maxwell career. So I mean, like, it was a really, now, I mean, it's still special to me, but now my phone is filled with high net worth individuals, high net worth individuals. But back then I wasn't having anybody take an interest in me like that, and that's how I know that this stuff works. Because there was something in my energy that had changed as a result of me being in that John Maxwell environment with all of these people. There was something in my energy that changed, and my energy now resonated with his energy, and he saw something he liked. And I have gone through most of my life up until that point. I had gone through most of my life very rarely ever finding people that saw something they liked in me. I know some of you are going to find this really, really hard to believe, but I've always been that kid that the teachers didn't like and that nobody cared about. I was that one that people always put off to the side, maybe because of my big mouth, maybe because I didn't understand a lot, but I was going to talk about it anyway. I mean, I got a lot of faults. I'm awesome, but I'll admit I was that annoying kid, and the teachers didn't like me, and the kids didn't like me, and I didn't have people come along who wanted to mentor me. They say when you get into the military, the first thing you do is find an old chief and let them mentor you. Well, I was that lieutenant that nobody wanted to mentor. And I didn't even know that I wasn't being mentored until I became a chief of a particular function. And they brought in this young lieutenant to be my deputy. And I watched as our seniors, they fawned all over her, did all her work for them, all her work for her, and did all this kind of stuff. And I was like, wow. Her Air Force experience, little cute little blonde, nice person, nice personality, just nice, just really resonated well with everybody when I didn't, for many reasons. And part of that was probably, if I'll be honest, probably because I wasn't cute, blonde, little. I've never been any of those things, but I'm pretty cute now. But I just realized, oh man, my Air Force experience is way different from hers, because I've had to fight and claw for everything that I had, because whereas people were fawning all over themselves to help her, a lot of times people were like this with me. And so we all have different personalities, and I have learned now in business to surround myself with people like her that attract people that want to help us get the job done. And I'm not talking about looks or anything. I'm talking about personality. Okay. We all have different personalities, but Dr. Meisner saw something that day, and I'll never forget that. And so this is one of the things that he taught us, and I have used it so many times. How are we doing on time? Okay. So I've got about 1 minute to show you this, but it really only takes 1 minute. So I was trying to fill up the time. It really only takes 1 minute. Let me go ahead and share this screen. So when you walk into a room, so if you don't know, if you're not good at networking, if you're maybe you're like me, your career was in science and engineering, and you just don't know much about networking, and you don't know where to start, and you go into an empty room, and if there's nobody that you don't know what you're going to do with yourself. You don't know what you're going to do with your life. You just want it to be over. If that's you today, this tip is going to help you out so much. And so this is one of the things that he taught us, and you can find it in his book on networking. When you walk into a room, all right, when you walk into a room and you see all these people, okay, you see all these people that are in groups talking. I'm going to tell you this. I'm telling you, this is powerful, but it's quick. This is what you do. You look for the people that are in what he calls open twos and open threes. See, this is open. I can come right on over here. These circles, they're open, or the oval, they're open. I can come right on in and fill in the group. And the conversation that they're already having, it can keep going. Nobody has to adjust. It can just keep going. On the other hand, you've got all these closed groups. There's a closed group of 4 here in the middle, a closed group of 3 here in the middle. You don't go up to those groups when you're learning how to network, and I'll tell you the mistake I used to always make is I would go to these individuals that were all by themselves, like, oh, well, they're all by themselves. They probably want to talk, and they're probably happy that I'm coming to talk with them. Well, guess what? Most of the time they're not. They're by themselves for a reason. And some of them are hoping you'll talk to them, but a lot of them are not. And so then the conversation is going to be awkward, or they are people who are really not talkative and they're just hoping someone else will carry the weight. Well, you're already not talkative. So now you're just 2 people who are kind of awkward standing there. Right. So, but you look for these open twos or these open threes where people are actively engaged in conversation. You slide up into it, and you either expand the group by leaving it open, or you can close it off if you feel so led. I like to stand a little bit open so that somebody else can join the group if they're in the same situation that I'm in. But I tell you what, the conversation keeps going. If it's one you want to jump into, you jump in. If it's not one, you can get yourself an excuse to go get something to drink or go to the bathroom and then continue the process over again. That's my super, super quick tip. Like I said, if you are subscribed at womenswealthsummit.com, then what you're going to get is you're going to get notified when I conduct the entire workshop. Okay. And again, this workshop is mainly for people who are technical and have trouble networking. Okay. If you are the life of the party, you can come. I want you to come. You might have some good tips to share with us, but you're going to be like, yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know that. Well, of course. And someone like me who had that career in the technical was like, oh wow, you can do that. Oh wow, people aren't mad when you do this. Like that. So I just want to set the stage there. Like, I want you to come, but if you come, I want you to be happy. But you're not coming if you're not registered at womenswealthsummit.com. And before I leave and we switch over to the broadcast rooms, which you can find at womenswealthsummitlive.com, I want to encourage you again to take the VIP challenge. Okay. The VIP challenge, again, you're going to register for your VIP upgrade. Every day, you're going to watch another talk or listen to it if you want to download the MP3s. And then you're going to fill out the workbook with something you learned from that speaker and one action that you're committing to taking that day as a result of what you learned from that speaker. All of our speakers have something you can learn from, something you can implement that night, something you can try, something you can call up a friend and share. Everyone. And if you will do that for every single speaker, and then you will send me a screenshot of that by 11:59 p.m., 5 July. That's a Tuesday. It's the day after the 4th of July. Well, I guess 5 comes after 4, but it's the 5th of July. If you will send me that by 11:59 p.m., 5th of July, I will reimburse you your VIP upgrade fee. All right. All right. So again, we're going to switch over to the broadcast. We've got 3 separate rooms for the broadcast, and you'll be able to enjoy the talks there. We have Dr. George Fraser, who is, as you know, this is a all faiths, all peoples kind of conference, but I always like to include something that pertains specifically to my culture, the Black culture. And with that, we have Dr. George Fraser talking about a blueprint for people who are in my situation, like people of color in this country. I know it's an international conference, but in this country, there's been significant setbacks that have kept people from moving forward. And it's time out for saying, well, it's their fault, their fault, their fault, their fault. It's time for us to take ownership of, well, we may not be responsible for the past, but we are responsible to our future. All right. And so he's kicking us off in a minute here. And I hope that you will join me at womenswealthsummitlive.com. I'm JJ Conway. Thank you so much for being here today. Y'all take care and be blessed.